Hello and welcome. Today we are going to be talking about the Insta360 X3, and we're going to be trying to answer the question, is this the ideal vlogging solution for your Insta360 X3? Well, stick around and let's find out. One of the very first videos I posted to this channel was this one, where I compared different audio recording options for the Insta360 X3. And I concluded that certainly one of the best options for audio recording would be a wireless microphone system such as the DJI mic system. Now, in that same video, I also complained at how Insta360 doesn't exactly make it easy to attach external microphones or in fact any other devices to the X3. In fact, while I was making that video, I had the DJI wireless receiver stuck to the body of the X3 just using double-sided tape. But shortly after making that video, I came across a company called Xmount360, who apparently have an objective to help users like me accessorize their Insta360 X3 and in fact other cameras as well. Now, the initial product that I purchased from them was this. It's a very simple bracket which allows you to connect the receiver of the DJI mic system to the X3. And as you can see, it does so in a way that the receiver and the cabling all stays within the stitch line between the lenses, so it remains invisible while you are filming. Well, now Xmount360 have taken that design to the next level by introducing this new cage for the X3, which incorporates the same custom mount for the DJI wireless receiver, in addition to a couple of cold shoe mounts, and of course adding protection for your X3. But the solutions don't end there. If you also like to use your X3 together with one of these, the Insta360 Power Selfie Stick, they have also added some very simple but highly effective accessories that also make for a far more robust and effective solution. So today we want to take a closer look at this new cage and the other accessories to see exactly how well they perform. Now, there is quite a bit to cover here, so as usual I'll place the chapters up here, so if you want to you can skip straight to the sections that you are most interested in, and those same chapters should appear on the video timeline. And before we get started, let's get to the usual disclaimer. Now, today's video is not sponsored or paid for, but I do need to disclose that the cage and the other accessories were provided by Xmount360 at no charge. They also were nice enough to provide me with some discount codes, and I will place those into the conclusion at the end of this. But I just need to reiterate that this video is not paid for. I'm not earning anything on any of the product sales, and so the opinions are entirely my own. And as usual, if you are enjoying the video, getting good information out of it, please give us a like and also consider subscribing to the channel for a lot more videos on tech, travel, and leisure. So let's get on with it. So let's take a closer look at the Xmount360 cage. So it's pretty standard, as you can see. You have a hinged opening with a thumb wheel to close it at the top here, and other than that the cage is symmetrical, so the camera will go in either orientation, but if you're going to use it together with the DJI microphone, you'll want to use it in this orientation with the screen facing you and the thumb wheel on the right, and you'll see why when we come to hook it up later. So let's start out by looking at the protection of the cage. Now, as you can see, the cage provides very good protection all the way around the edges of the camera. But of course, with this being a 360 camera, you're always going to have those protruding lenses. There's really not much that any cage can do about that. So you will still need to be a little bit more careful with a 360 camera than perhaps with other cameras. As far as features are concerned, you have a cold shoe on either side at the bottom here. You have a 1/4-inch mount in the base here for your selfie stick. This is also a nice touch. You have the GoPro style fingers for an alternative way of mounting the camera. And on the top here, you have this custom mount, which is designed specifically for the DJI mic system. So we've looked at protection, we've looked at features. Let's also look at accessibility when the cage is attached. Now, starting out with the microphones. So as far as microphones are concerned, on the X3 we have one here on the front of the camera. We have one down here on the back of the camera between the two buttons here. And then we have one microphone on either side of the camera between the lenses. And as you can see, once inside the cage, the front microphone and the rear microphone are completely exposed, and there are also holes in the cage for the side microphones. Next up, let's look down the sides of the cage. Now you can see on this side we have a couple of cutouts. One is for the speaker here, and also one for the two buttons that are located on this side of the camera. We have the power button and the quick mode button, which are completely accessible. If you flip around to the other side, you'll notice the same two cutouts. This one lines up with the USB-C door here, so you can fully access the USB-C compartment and even remove the door, as we will need to in just a moment to connect up the microphone adapter. The one thing that is not accessible is the battery. So this is the battery, and also in this chamber is the SD card. So with the cage attached, you cannot change the battery, you cannot access the SD card, although I should add that you can of course charge the battery through the USB-C port. Now, in case you're not familiar with the DJI mic system, the receiver here has this proprietary mount on the back, which is used for attaching different adapters, such as a lightning adapter, for example, or the standard hot shoe adapter. Now, when using the X3, you really can't use the standard hot shoe adapter, because doing so, the receiver will actually extend beyond the body of the camera, and it will then be visible in your footage. So instead of using the hot shoe adapter, the Xmount360 cage uses that proprietary mount of the receiver itself, and now, as you can see, the receiver is completely in line with the body of the camera and will remain invisible through all your shots. Now, in order to hook up the DJI receiver to the X3, we're going to use one of these. Now, this is the standard Insta360 X3 microphone adapter. And the way we connect this is by opening up and actually removing this little door on the USB-C compartment here. And then we place this in its place, and it snaps firmly into place. Now we take the audio connection cable, which comes together with the cage. And as you can see, this very small cable is not going to appear in our footage. Okay, before we get to the testing part, let's first of all talk about the other accessories from Xmount360. Now, you're probably also familiar with this product. Now, this is the Insta360 Power Selfie Stick, specifically for the X3. It has a built-in battery, so it acts as a power bank to charge the X3, but as you can see, it also has controls to be able to power on and off the X3, change the mode, and start and stop recording. Now, connection to the X3 is simply by using the 1/4" mount here, and then the communication and charging is done through the USB-C cable. It's not the most elegant solution, but it works. And as you can see, the very small USB cable manages generally to stay out of the way of your filming. But I'm not a big fan of this USB-C cable. It's a little bit large and it has a tendency to get deformed, and you'll see an example of how and when that can happen later on. Also, this is a very specific USB-C cable. Many of you probably already know that if you lose or damage this cable, it is very difficult to find a replacement. Now, pretty much any USB-C cable will work as far as charging is concerned, but it has to be a very specific USB-C cable in order for the remote control to work also. Now, the guys at Xmount360 have come up with this as a replacement for this cable. As you can see, it fits perfectly, and there really is no chance of this deforming and appearing in any of your footage. And of course, yes, it charges the device and fully remote controls the device as well. Okay, so let's put this back in the cage and hook everything up and see how it works when we are doing some recording. Okay, so I have my DJI receiver attached up here, plugged into the microphone adapter. I've got my Power Selfie Stick attached here, and I'm ready to attach my USB cable. But there's just one thing that's really strange here. You see, the orientation of the USB-C on the camera itself is like this, but if you plug in the microphone adapter, you'll see that now the USB-C orientation is different. So if I use the standard cable, I actually have to now twist it when I plug it in, and this is my problem. So I end up with this deformed cable, and I'm sure I can figure out a way to get it to fit. But then when I go back to using it without the microphone adapter, I've got the same problem all over again. And that's what I was talking about with this cable becoming deformed. So the guys at Xmount360 provide this very simple solution, this 90-degree adapter, which plugs into the base of the microphone adapter, and now taking their custom USB-C cable, once again you can see how this is completely solid and has no chance of entering my frame of view when I'm filming. Okay, so now the only thing that's left to do is power up, take some footage, and just make sure that everything that we have here stays out of my frame when I'm filming. So that's what we'll do next. Okay, let's do some testing. Now, there's a couple of things we want to test for. Firstly, we're going to do some audio testing, and then we're going to do some video testing. Now, when it comes to the audio testing, really we're just looking to hear the difference between the camera on its own with nothing at all attached, and that's how I have it right now. So obviously I'm talking to you through the onboard microphones of the X3. Next, we're going to attach the cage and check that the cage itself does not interfere with the onboard microphones in any way. And then thirdly, we're going to add the DJI wireless microphone system, and we're going to get a comparison of the audio quality with the wireless microphone system attached. So as I said, right now I have nothing at all attached to the camera and I'm talking to you through the onboard microphones. Now let's put on the cage and try the same test. Okay, for our second audio test, now I have the X3 inside the cage, but I do not currently have the wireless microphone attached. I just wanted to ensure that the cage is not in any way impeding the microphones or causing any kind of deterioration of the audio quality. Let's just remind ourselves briefly of the sound quality with the cage off to see if there's any difference. So as I said, right now I have nothing at all attached to the camera and I'm talking to you through the onboard microphones. Now let's put on the cage and try the same test. And now back again with the cage on. Is there any difference at all in the audio quality? Okay, and for our third audio test, now I have the DJI wireless microphone attached, which should be better quality overall than the onboard speakers, particularly, of course, if I were to walk away from the camera and start talking about anything further away from the camera. Obviously, being wireless, the microphone goes with me, so you're going to have better audio quality. Okay, time to do some video testing. And what we're looking for is to ensure that neither the cage nor any of the accessories appears in the picture or in any way compromises the video quality. So right now, as I said, I have nothing at all attached to the camera, and what I'm going to do is come and stand exactly in the stitch line. Now, I certainly wouldn't advise that anybody does their vlogging by standing exactly in the stitch line, but this is probably the best way of testing. You might just be able to see a little bit of the stitch line as I move back and forward. And again, this is with the camera without anything attached to it. The cage is not attached right now, or any of the accessories. Now, the first thing we're going to test is simply hooking up the USB cables to power the X3 through the Power Selfie Stick. We'll start out with the standard cable. And now I have the standard USB cable attached between the Power Selfie Stick and the X3. So any difference, I don't believe you should see anything. So let's now repeat the experiment with our new USB cable. Let's see if that makes any difference. How does that look? So any difference in terms of the picture quality? Do you see anything of the cable in the stitch line? Is there any deterioration of the image quality? Okay, before we get to the cage, let's just do a test of the mounting bracket. So this is just the simple mounting bracket for the DJI wireless receiver, and of course the cable going into the microphone adapter on the X3 itself. So once again, take a look at the image. Are you seeing any sign of the accessories attached? Are you seeing any deterioration of the stitch line? Okay, so our final video test. Now I have everything hooked up. So I have the X3 in the cage with the microphone adapter attached. I have the DJI wireless receiver on top of the cage, and I also have the USB cable attached by way of the 90-degree adapter into the Power Selfie Stick. So once again, is there anything visible at all in the stitch line as I move back and forth? Are you seeing any deterioration of the image quality as a result of all the accessories attached? As much as I like this camera, and I really do like this camera, you have to say that the Insta360 X3 is not very accessory friendly. When it comes to adding a microphone, they have this ridiculous external adapter in order to be able to add a microphone. And when you do add a microphone, you then have to figure it out for yourself how you're going to secure this and keep it out of the line of sight. And then you have the Power Selfie Stick, which instead of plugging in neatly into the base of the camera, also relies on this external USB cable that you also have to try to keep out of the line of sight. And just to make things even more difficult, they then change the orientation of the USB plug depending on whether you have the mic adapter attached or not. So when it comes to adding accessories, clearly Insta360 have some work to do. But thankfully you have companies like Xmount360 who are coming up with solutions like this to allow you to connect all your accessories in a pretty secure way, but also keep them out of the line of sight. And as you saw during our testing, that it does all of this with no negative impact on either the audio quality or the video quality. So overall then, if you are planning to attach an external microphone, in particular the DJI wireless mic to your X3, also if you are using your X3 together with the Power Selfie Stick, I would definitely recommend this solution for either of those purposes. Now there are a couple of small negatives, at least from my perspective. Firstly, when I am carrying my X3 around between shots, I generally like to place it back into the protective sleeve that comes with the X3. It's not only soft, but it's also a little bit padded. It's kind of like a wetsuit for your X3, and it provides a little bit of bump protection in addition to scratch protection. Now, the Xmount360 cage does come with this pouch, which is great for preventing any scratches to the lenses, but it's not padded in any way. So that's maybe one area that could be improved. The other negative for me is not being able to access the battery. So clearly the guys at Xmount360 have decided to go with functionality. So a second cold shoe instead of a larger cutout here. My preference would be a larger cutout here, enabling you to exchange the battery and or the SD card as needed without having to remove the camera from the frame. But as I said, when it comes to using your X3 together with an external microphone like the DJI or using it with the Power Selfie Stick, this is definitely a recommended solution. Now, as I said at the beginning, Xmount360 were kind enough to provide me with some discount codes. There is a 20% discount code for the cage and a 50% discount code for the USB cable. So those should be on screen right now, and I will also place them in the video description. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got great information out of this video. If you did, if you liked the video, please remember to give us a thumbs up. And also please consider subscribing to the channel for a lot more videos around tech, travel, and leisure. If you have any comments, if you have any suggestions, please go ahead and place those into the comment section. I always like to hear from you guys. Otherwise, thank you again for watching.